The Getaway Foundation was formed to build the first spaceport. In order to do that, we must first build a few smaller structures first. One of the most important is the von Braun rotating space station. This will likely be the first commercial space construction project in history. My name is John Blinko, and I'm president of the Getaway Foundation. Any station design that is not a corporate rotation is almost a waste of time. For short periods of time, a zero-G platform can make sense, but if you have workers there for more than 2 or 3 months, then forget it. Why? You'll understand after I read to you a first-hand account by astronaut Scott Kelly after he returned from 340 days at the International Space Station. Every part of my body hurts. All of my joints and all of my muscles are protesting the crushing pressure of gravity. I am also nauseated, although I haven't thrown up. A crack of light wakes me. Is it morning? No, it's just Amiko coming to bed. I've only slept a couple of hours, but I feel delirious. It's a struggle to come to consciousness, enough to even move to tell her how awful I feel. I'm seriously nauseated now, feverish. My pain has gotten worse. This isn't how I felt after my last mission. This is much, much worse. I struggle to get up, find the edge of the bed. Feet down, sit up, stand up. At every stage, I feel like I'm fighting through quicksand. When I'm finally vertical, the pain in my legs is awful. And on top of that pain, I feel a sensation that's even more alarming. It feels as though all of the blood in my body is rushing to my legs, like the sensation of blood rushing to your head when you do a handstand, but in reverse. I can feel the tissue in my legs swelling. I shuffle my way to the bathroom. I make it to the bathroom, flip on the light, and look down at my legs. They are swollen and alien stumps, not legs at all. I say, Amiko, come look at this. She kneels down and squeezes one ankle. It squishes like a water balloon. She looks up at me with worried eyes. I can't even feel your ankle bones, she says. My skin is burning too, I tell her. Amiko frantically examines me. I have a strange rash all over my back, the backs of my legs, the back of my head and neck, everywhere I was in contact with the bed. I wonder whether my friend Misha back in Moscow is suffering from the same swollen legs and painful rashes. I suspect so. Our space agencies won't be able to push out further into space to a destination like Mars until we can learn more about how to strengthen the weakest links in the chain that makes spaceflight possible, the human body and mind. This is a nightmare. It sounds like a science fiction horror movie. This is what 340 days in zero-G space did to Scott Kelly's body. But was he okay after shorter trips to space? Here again in his own words. On my previous flight to the space station, a mission of 159 days, I lost bone mass, my muscles atrophied, and my blood redistributed itself in my body, which strained and shrank the walls of my heart. More troubling, I experienced problems with my vision, as many other astronauts had. People need gravity so their bodies won't fall apart, but how much? Will lunar gravity be okay for a year, but not for 2 years? Will Martian gravity work for humans long term, but not for large farm animals? Would 2 days a week at 30% G be enough for ISS crews to retain bone mass? Building the von Braun space station can help us unlock those secrets. So let's have a look at the station. The von Braun station will be a rotating space station designed to produce varying levels of artificial gravity by increasing or decreasing the rate of rotation. The station will be designed from the start to accommodate both national space agencies conducting low gravity research and space tourists who want to experience life on a large space station with the comfort of low gravity and the feel of a nice hotel. The von Braun space station structure will consist of 2 concentric structural rings fixed together with a set of spokes, supporting an outer habitation ring made up of large modules. The docking hub is an unpressurized ring structure with docking arms and stabilizers designed to capture and lock in place visiting spacecraft to unload passengers and cargo. At first, there will be only one docking port, but later we will add another so that two craft can be docked to the station at the same time. All passenger and cargo access to the station will be through a set of pressurized access tubes connecting the docking hub to the outer ring truss. The outer ring truss is a triangular unpressurized ring truss supported by a network of spokes to the docking hub. Set inside this truss is an access tube that will allow people to move about the station freely. Below the outer ring truss are a series of large connected pressurized modules. This is called the Habitation Ring. Our original design was very much like Wernher von Braun's rotating space station, hence the name. But we soon saw problems and had to change the design. First, where are the escape vehicles? If you cannot evacuate the whole population during an emergency, then you have recreated the Titanic. Second, if your module is here next to the elevator tube, then everyone going to modules here and here must pass through yours, coming and going every day. So we created the access tube structure and designed big couplings to mount the escape vehicles on. Our original design had a square ORT, but Dr. Thomas Spilker changed the truss design from square to triangular to increase strength and reduce mass. After that, we decided to put the access tube inside it. Then we moved the spokes from the center apex longeron to the base longerons. This will allow the elevator tubes to rise up between the spokes. At the juncture of each set of modules, there will be a coupling that connects the modules together and connects the habitation ring to the outer ring access tube above it, inside the outer ring truss. Set into the coupling floor will be an access door to the escape vehicles to evacuate the facility should that need arise. This matrix of pressurized tubes will consist of the docking hub access tubes, the 4 elevator tubes, and the access tube embedded in the outer ring truss above the ring of habitation modules. The Gateway Foundation's construction arm orbital assembly will design and build the frame. This will consist of the docking hub, the spokes, and the outer ring truss. Orbital assembly will also assemble the access tube network, the couplings, and the modules into the habitation ring. Those items will be built down here by other aerospace companies and launched ready to be assembled. Modules can be made by firms who have built modules for the International Space Station, Thales, JAXA, Boeing, Roscosmos, or Bigelow Aerospace. They could also be made by non-ISS module makers, Orion Span, Axiom, Galactic Suite Design, Orbital Technologies, and SpaceX. There will be 2 different types of couplings. The standard coupling will have 3 ports, 1 on each joining module, and 1 to the access tube network above. There will also be an airlock at the bottom to allow access to the ERV below it. The other type of coupling will be the same, except below the airlock, it will allow access to the reaction control tower that controls spin, precession, and position of the station as needed. All access tubes and couplings will be built by one contractor for commonality. There will be 2 hemispheres of 12 modules. Each hemisphere will have 1 KRB, kitchen restaurant bar, 1 GA, gymnasium auditorium, and 1 AWP, air water power processing module. There will be at least 1 module for station crew. The rest of the modules will be for customer use, laboratories for national space agencies, hotel rooms for paying guests, and villas for those who can afford one. This structure could actually be built rather fast. Why? Because the Leadenhall building was built fast. This is the Leadenhall building. The Leadenhall building was built in downtown London and is considered by many architects as the most advanced building in the world. It is the manner in which it was built that makes it so advanced. From start to finish, it took only 2 years to construct. Second, it was built on a computer using a work schedule that accounted for every bolt tightened, every window set in place, minute by minute, every day, 7 days a week for 2 years. That is precision scheduling. Leadenhall had a small footprint, leaving no room for material storage on site, the same problem we have in space. This meant every beam, every window had to be set in place just when it arrived. Building von Braun Station will require the same kind of precision timing. Can permanent modular construction be used in space? Yes. The Gateway Foundation has designed and patented a construction machine called the G-Cell, which can build large trusses and frames quickly. The docking hub and the outer ring truss are the only parts that need to be welded together in space. The rest you just bolt together, like they did with the modules at the International Space Station and the frame at Leadenhall. Previously, we were looking at modules that were 28 feet wide by 40 feet long. These would be very impressive since ISS modules are about half that size. But if we had a SpaceX Super Heavy second stage that was developed just for space construction, we could have modules that were 40 feet wide by 60 feet long. This much bigger size would allow for a much larger interior volume for the same launch costs. Each of these modules would be configured to suit the demands of our customers. There will be modules for station workers, modules designed as laboratories. Other modules will be configured as hotels for space tourists. And then there's my favorite, the villa. Similar to how Boeing will customize an airliner frame to create a VIP private jet, so too will we have modules fitted for wealthy customers. VIP jets can be very plush, but this station will have far lower noise levels, consistent pressurization, and no turbulence or vibration. It will be more like a billionaire's yacht. Will restaurant chains operate the restaurants? Will hotel chains operate the rooms in the tourist modules? Imagine what it will do for their loyalty programs if they have a drawing for a free ticket to those who join. Who could resist? The Von Braun Station's design will allow for the meeting and collaboration of a community of nations with space programs, corporations with space objectives, and space tourists who want to visit space for a unique off-world experience. Shared use areas like the restaurants, gymnasiums, and game rooms will bring these people from different backgrounds together. At the same time, it will give each of these spaceflight entities the privacy we all need from time to time in their own modules, rented spaces, or hotel rooms. National space agencies will be able to buy and configure their modules as they see fit, and then later sell their positions on the station to recover their expenditure. The reselling of space property will completely change the dynamic of space expenditures from one with huge financial losses to one with great financial rewards. Von Braun will be a rotating space station that is economically self-sustaining, offering both community and privacy, vital low-gravity research and tourism. This is the station we need to build right now. The Von Braun Station is the perfect first project for orbital assembly to test and use the tools we need to build spaceports. Bots will help astronauts perform repetitious or dangerous tasks. Pods and arms will move heavy structural items into place. Drones will perform several jobs all over the construction site. And the G-cell, or truslator, or both, will assemble large trusses for the structural rings. By far the biggest reason to build the Von Braun Space Station is to validate the basic design structure for the Gateway spaceport. The hub, spoke, and rim system of building spaceports has never been demonstrated off-world and needs to be tested before we build big structures big enough to accommodate cities in space. The first part to be built will be the frame. Does this structure look familiar? It should. We've done this before, down here. On June 9, 1893, the Chicago wheel achieved first rotation. On this 264-foot wheel, there were 36 passenger cars, each able to accommodate up to 60 people, giving a total capacity of 2,160. The most famous is the London Eye. In the year 1999, the large hub, spoke, and rim structure in rotation was put to use in England. This magnificent structure is not designed for long-term habitation, but its modern design of hub, modules, and triangular ring truss validate the Von Braun Station's major design elements under one gravity of stress. More such eyes have been built for Singapore, Las Vegas, Nanjing, and Dubai. Just as there are more eyes around the world, there will be more Von Braun stations circling Earth. There will be eyes in the sky. The Von Braun Station is almost a reduced-scale version of the Gateway spaceport. There are literally 100 ways that building this rotating space station will teach us how to build big spaceports, from power generation and air processing to structural load dynamics on a rotating frame. For instance, how do we keep the station in balance when a shuttle is offloading cargo in the hub? How do we dampen oscillations? How do we handle fresh water, gray water, wastewater? How do we recycle air to keep it fresh? Not just okay, but fresh enough for tourists. Some of those answers will be found in the design of the AWP module. This module's job will be to clean all the air and water and distribute power from the solar panels as needed to the modules. How big does sickbay need to be for a population this size? How many refrigerators and freezers for the kitchen? The cruise ship industry can answer some of these questions. Building and operating Von Braun Station will be an important stepping stone to building bigger structures like spaceports. How to pay for this station. Tourists and tenants. Von Braun Station will be just like an apartment building in New York City that has hotels, restaurants, gymnasiums, auditoriums, and temporary parking. Our building's job will be to provide air, water, and power to our tenants, and gravity, but that's free of charge. Our list of possible tenants includes: number 1, sovereign customers, NASA from America, ESA from Europe, JAXA from Japan, Russia, China, India, Australia, Canada, South Korea, Brazil, and more. There are 13 nations who have launched rockets into orbital space. There are over 70 nations with space programs. Number 2, space corporations, SpaceX, Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin, Bigelow Aerospace, Boeing, Lockheed, and many more. 3, space societies like Asgardia. Number 4, billionaires. There are over 2,000 billionaires around the world. How many would want to have their own villa off-world? The option to own property in orbit has never come up until now. Would Jeff Bezos or Richard Branson buy a module? Would Michael Jordan want to set up a basketball court at lunar gravity? He could wear his Jordans and jump around like they had flubber inside. There are lots of possibilities. Who foresaw that the first SpaceX Starship client was an artist who wanted to have an experience like no one else has had for over 5 decades? I believe that it will happen the same way for the Von Braun Station, maybe even the same person. Who could resist the chance to have their own villa in space? The first privately owned property, off-world, in history. He or she might step out from a profession that is far removed from the space industry. Number 5. There is also the person who wants to visit space for a few days, but does not have enough money to buy their own villa. For every billionaire who wants to visit space, there are millions of well-off people who will buy a ticket to the orbital Hilton for a 3-day off-world excursion. And last, number 6. My favorite is the middle-class person who wants to go too, but can't afford to blow their retirement getting there. For that person, we have created the Getaway Foundation Crew Membership. Each year, we will choose one of these people from the first 1,000 members and one from the first 10,000 to visit the station at our expense. We created the crew membership for lots of good reasons, but the biggest one has to do with the powerful force of innovation stemming from human curiosity. When everyday people get involved, things start to move fast. The biggest change this station will bring to space will be a much larger requirement of workers from many sectors of industry. Many more scientists will be doing more research, more astronauts to build, operate, and maintain the station, more pilots to operate space shuttles, space taxis, and spacecraft. And for the first time, we will need workers from many walks of life just to run the station. We will have restaurants, so we will need wait staff. We will need cooks, and we will need people to clean up after. They say if you have a bar with footy on the telly, then you have to have a brig, so we will need security too. The rooms will need to be cleaned and the sheets washed. The gymnasium will need instructors to help people from twisting their ankles while they learn that weight is different from mass. We will have a doctor or 2. We will need lots of people, and those of you who are part of our Gateway crew know that the first place that we look for motivated, qualified people who want to be station crew is from our crew membership. The Gateway Foundation Crew Membership was created so people who share our passion for space travel could have a significantly higher chance of visiting space in their lifetime. But it also gave us a pool of people to draw from who had talents and skills needed for designing and building space stations, spaceports, and other large structures in space. This has worked out really well. We have been hiring from our crew membership exclusively for over a year now. Soon after first spin-up, there will be a need for other types of space stations nearby to help Von Braun Station function. Maintenance facilities will be needed to repair shuttles that lose tiles and re-entry shielding, or need vital components replaced. There will be fueling depots and stations for service craft too. Will national space agencies want to have zero-G laboratories in co-orbital positions so their scientists living there can get some exercise and good food every few days? At least on weekends? I would think so. When we first started making our cost projections for space construction, we based it upon the lowest estimated launch cost that we could find, the SpaceX BFR at $1,000 a kilogram. That came out to around $150 million a launch. But then Elon Musk made a presentation in Adelaide that changed everything. By making all the components of BFR reusable, its cost could be spread over many flights, just like an airliner. Elon Musk estimates launch cost of the Starship and Super Heavy booster at around $7 million. Some estimate that each launch will be as high as $40 million after all the factors are accounted for. But whether it's $7 or $40 million, that is still music to our ears. This means that rotating space stations, maintenance facilities, and fuel depots can and will be built affordably. NASA wants to go back to the moon, but it really needs to learn about the long-term effects of low gravity too. Now they can afford to do both. We will build Braun Station, and it can be built fast, because many can afford to have a module at these prices. My father's generation sent people to the moon. When we build Braun Station, we will make history too. First rotation will be a monumental event, much like the first steps on the moon. But when the station first spins up, there may be close to 400 people on board. Heads of state, billionaires in the space industry, and many celebrities. The names of the first people to experience artificial gravity in space for the first time in history will be remembered as a who was there moment for generations. You don't want to miss this party. If you are a Gateway Foundation crew member, then at least 2 of you will be there. That's in addition to any crew members who are hired as station crew. Will NASA and other national space agencies buy modules on Braun Station? Yes, because they will want to remain the leading nations in space exploration, and low-gravity research will tell us how we need to design spacecraft to explore our solar system for centuries to come. The future of human space exploration is in rotation. Space has been one of America's most important areas of investment and technological dominance for decades, but the importance of this station goes far beyond monetary investment and ROI. It is the symbol of things to come. It is affordable and revolutionary. I believe America is a superpower that needs a super project. This country has never done better than when it has accepted the challenge of a great undertaking that would change everything. The SpaceX Starship and the Von Braun rotating space station will usher in an era of space habitation and space communities long dreamed of, but never attained. We have the technology to build this station, and it is economically feasible. This is going to happen because its time has come, and it can happen fast, because a lot of the things that we need are already made or can be fabricated with off-the-shelf materials and technology. Once again, I would like to thank the Gateway Foundation crew members who have supported this effort and those who have joined us recently. You are helping us a lot, and we listen to your ideas. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about our crew. We are not from a few nations. We are from all over the world. In fact, it's only a matter of time before we have Gateway Foundation crew members representing every nation on Earth. We are a team with a common objective: to form a space construction industry, to create transportation infrastructure off-world, and to transition humankind into a spacefaring race. If you'd like to join our crew, go to gatewayspaceport.com/membership. Our next episode will focus on the design challenges Dr. Thomas Spilker and I have addressed on the Braun Station for the last 8 months. Thank you for watching, and be sure and subscribe to our channel.